there's lyrics about telling people to fuck off, or I scream at the top of my lungs to get the fuck out, for example, in Hella Rad, Hella Sad, Hella Angsty. The moment in the record where one's being kicked in the teeth the most, I think, is the fuck off, fuck off, fuck off.
I think I've actually told another human being fuck off very few times compared to how many times
you've sung it,
maybe like genuinely said it like maybe 3 times in my life to different people, but I sing it like all the time.
Yeah, and you mean it.
Yeah. I mean, if I were like less scared of telling people to fuck off, maybe I'd say it more, but I feel like it has more of an impact if I never say it and then I say it to someone. One time I said fuck off to someone and they thought I was joking, so.
After all the practice, you need to sing.
Well, I think
fuck
I
off
said
to
it
them.
kind of quietly and they just laughed. I was like, I'm serious. Would you please fuck off? That's exactly how I said it. Like.
So let's focus on your songwriting for a bit then. I was asking Danielle, I was putting Danielle on the spot and asking her about how she feels about wholeness, the desire to be
which was like, I'm just sitting there like, damn.
So now I'm still whole. I don't know.
So let's bring together lots of these threads. The band has been becoming more mature, and there's an attempt in the lyrics, in all of the lyrics, I think, to deal more with like what makes us angry or angsty.
I think for me, I just write what I write, and it just kind of comes up.
Do you notice a big change between your lyrics for the first EP and the second EP?
I don't know. Like I feel like I just write things and they're just there.
So Hella Rad, Hella Sad, Hella Angry, that has angsty. Yeah, I got it right and then I got it wrong. I think that's the most vulnerable song on the first EP. Like it has, for example, Everything I Worked For Turns to Rust. I think it almost preempts I Don't Want to Know. The kind of who have I even become component of I Don't Want to Know is kind of already there in that earlier song in the first EP. That's a song that you'd use to close sets. It does
does.
Yeah, it often does, yeah.
It often does, it's just between that and Sketchy Jeff.
Yeah. Well, we were saying hella sketchy.
Hella
So
sketchy,
put the two together, yeah. What's special about that song for the band? Why is that the one that we close sets with?
The easiest answer is it's the most dramatic because it's in 3/4. So it feels like you're waltzing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Waltzing it seems like a musical theater song, to be honest. Like, more of like a rock opera. Like, oh, come any closer. Like, it's so dramatic. I love it.
It is, but there's an interesting contrast even within the song between like the performative component, and it's very kind of bold and obviously confident and loud, but then the lyric that most anticipates who have I even become is looking at the piece of shit I've become. This kind of comes up in Teacher 2. An alternative title, I think, for the EP could be Nightmare, because obviously there's the song Nightmare where you're denying that you are someone's dream girl and you're claiming that you're rather their nightmare. But then when the term nightmare comes up in your song, in Teacher, it's a perfect nightmare. Like what's happening to you, the situation is a nightmare. Is that something that the band had noticed, like that nightmare kind of shows up in these two very different ways?
It's kind of funny, like especially when you contrasted Hella, that like looking at the piece of shit I've become, and like who have I become. Like I guess me and Emily just accidentally cross paths of songwriting. I've never known that. I've never thought about that.
Because and again, it's like the effort, like the existential quest, for want of a better phrase, just living, and you can like unite with people that help you live and flourish, like this band, for example, and like help you to grow and mature and just develop in the right way for you. But then you can also find yourself in these interactions with people that the opposite happens. you said in our previous interview, the one where it was just me and you, that they were kind of wise beyond their years. The other two members of the band were wise beyond their years. So there has always been that kind of reflection on like social relations and that's what I'd say. That's a large part of like what attracts people to the band. It's never just like anger or angst. It's anger or angst with just enough kind of a sense of where this is coming from and why that people can relate to, whether it's personal or political.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like we've been lucky enough to have like a good circle of people around us and like be educated by those people around us to like guide us in our, like it does guide through the songwriting and like guide through I guess our social interactions. I don't know if you guys agree, because like even like I think it's funny that we have a song on this EP called Nightmare, and before us came Kitten Forever's Nightmare.
Oh yeah. Which is a band that you wish other people would have the feelings that you have about them.
It's like going to church, going to a Kitten Forever show, to be honest.
Are they your favorite band?
I would say like they're...
local band at least?
Yeah, they're like... I don't even know how to like encompass how much they like mean to me personally, because it's a thing where like we met Kitten Forever when we were like just a baby band, like just the three of us, and the reason that we know them is because Laura came to one of our shows that we were playing like covers at, and then I was like, oh my god, that's Laura from Kitten Forever. And then Emily right after was like, we want to play a show with you. And then she was like, okay, yeah, sure. And then they put us on a show, they liked us, and then put us on another show, and then more attention came to us, and like they've helped me like figure out like situations in my own life, like I can hang out with them, and like also if I'm feeling unsafe about something or if I'm feeling confused, I can go to any of them and like get great guidance or get good advice, and I feel like they've really like sort of formed me into the little like loudmouth feminist I am today.
Wonderful.
Like,
good job.
Very
Kitten Forever.
Thank you, Kitten Forever. So like I thought it was funny when like I did write that song and it was called Nightmare. I'm like, oh god, I'm just trying to be a Kitten Forever knockoff, aren't I?
Well, you're not doing very well. It would have to be.
Well.
Yeah. Not only did you play show and then another show, there was a very important show that you played with Kitten Forever in the main room.
Yeah, I didn't play it though because we had a show in Duluth.
Oh.
I rooted them on. I was just thinking, they mean so much to me. I just like adore them in every single way and aspect, and like can't thank them enough for all they've done.
Yeah, that was so Tony Pichka had a bassist stand.
Yeah, Jordan Blue.
Oh, Jordan.
Played,
yeah.
Because he recorded us. So
of course.
He just knew the bass parts. So I was like, okay, well, there you go.
Nice. So speaking of bands, which band did you invite to play the Record Release show?
You're so good at that. I invited Cat Bath.
Cat Bath, who've just been in the studio with Gravy for the first time, actually tracking stuff for because Gravy
joined later.
has been playing live with them extra guitar.
The reason I know Cat Bath is because we played a show with them, like one of their first shows back after a while, and it was with Skating Polly, who's a touring band, and I remember watching them, and my first thought was, oh my god, we ripped them off.
Without having ever heard them before.
Yeah, I've never heard them, because they came before us, like years before us, and they had those 3-part harmonies and the grunge tone, and I was just sitting there like... They're
going to think that we ripped them
off. I was like, they're going to think that we ripped them off? Like, I just was like, do I apologize? Like, but they're just like so sweet, and like...
They are so sweet.
Their songs are all so good, like... Oh my god, like every single, I don't think there's not a Cat Bath song that I don't like. Like they are fantastic songwriters, and like all their voices are amazing, and also just like Crystal behind that huge drum set. She has like 2 floor toms as like her toms, and like her kick drum's about like the size of Emily. Like
and she's as much of a multi-instrumentalist as you.
Yeah.
Because Cat Bath, I understood, we interviewed them back in a previous season of Back to the City, and she was saying like she just wanted to have a band where she played drums.
Yeah.
And Travis, hadn't been playing guitar, he'd been playing drums in previous bands. Yeah. So they each, to think this band, which you'll witness at the 7th Street entry when you go there on Friday.
Yes.
Don't go there on Saturday.
It throws me off too.
When you go there on Friday, this band began, it seemed almost as giving them an opportunity to just play a different instrument.
I'm in 4 bands where I play different instruments, so I'm just.
You can have
I feel
a
the same.
four-piece actually.
Yeah,
of
I
Danielle's.
like to feel around and have that new experience, because I guess if I stay in one thing, I feel monotonous and bored.
Yeah.
Which is something I wish I kind of didn't have.
Does it cross-pollinate too? So if you develop as, say, a bassist through playing bass in Tony Peachka, do you find yourself doing, the other part of the rhythm section, like your drumming is, you become aware of different possibilities perhaps?
I guess before I became a bassist, I never really thought that so much work can be put into it, because they really like more intricate bass parts in Tony, because they're just that's the whole thing. Everything has its own, if you take one aspect out of Tony, it's it sounds completely different.
It does. Yeah.
But I guess it makes me appreciate more of what people are doing and the work they're putting in, because I just with drums, I just kind of don't really think much, because drums is my most advanced. I'm the best at drums, and I just kind of if I do whatever I want.
Of all the 4 Danielles,
yes,
the drummer Danielle is the best.
Yeah. When they asked me in my solo band to write a guitar part, I'm power chords, I don't know. I was also I saw another band that Travis was in, and I was he drums, so I didn't know that he was I didn't know that was his main instrument before that. But yeah, Cat Bath is we've shared a few other bills with them too, so it's I think that we're bands that should play together, because it's just 3-part harmonies with that
absolutely
tone.
So your initial concern, it turned into, no, this is a marriage made in heaven, unlike the trophy wife idea, obviously.
Yeah.
the marriage of Cat Bath and Bruise Violet is a happy one. So continuing to think of bands, Bikini Kill, the Dead Kennedys, Fugazi, Negative Approach, and the Sex Pistols are going to be playing in town very soon.
What a lineup!
Courtesy of Danielle. Thank you for doing some magic. Danielle is going to be playing in Bikini Kill, which is it's a cover band of Bikini Kill.
Yes. Oh God, I wish I was playing a Bikini Kill.
With other members of Tony Peachka and Sass and Tact. You had the idea of responding to our current political climate, which you were not the only angry one about that, but you provide us with a way to channel our anger. So on the Facebook page it says, want to do something about it. Some of your favourite local musicians have teamed up to create cover bands of past political bands that took a stand for what they believed in at the time. So could you talk a little bit about the genesis of this night, which is happening on May 19th at the Reverie?
So what happened is, I love Bikini Kill. I absolutely, the reason that I am who I am today is because I watched this documentary called The Punk Singer about Kathleen Hanna, who's the singer of Bikini Kill. Yeah. And I just
apart from when you are.
Yeah. I was completely blown away by the fact that a girl who was of that age would be able to lead a movement. I was very used to being in bands as a submissive role. It's I guess they're just kind of treating me this because I guess that's what it's like to be in a band. Whatever, I guess. I always felt a little uncomfortable, but then I never knew that being a girl in a band was something that was not common. You were gonna be treated a poor way, and Kathleen was the first person who I saw was fuck you, you know?
Yeah.
So it was always a dream of mine to front a Bikini Kill cover band, and I wanted an excuse to do it. And then, so what happened was, the day after the inauguration, or day of the inauguration, I was just in a bummer mood, and I tried to think, and I was also listening to SleaterKinney, and it was their most political album I was listening to. I'm what would happen if because I've heard of cover nights before. I'm in a Buzzcocks cover band that I've played in before, and I've done covers before of other stuff, but I've never heard of a mostly themed cover night, and especially politically themed.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
I feel people tend to not really discuss politics in their music as much as they'll do their music and then be like, Trump sucks. The next song. And then I'm like, yeah, he does. Like, let's talk about it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So I had this idea and I put out like a call to arms on Facebook. I wish it was as cool as it sounds like a call to arms. People are like, hey guys, I have
It
this
was cool.
idea.
No, I saw it.
Yeah,
It was somewhere between what you're describing,
Yeah.
the two things you're describing.
And I was like, I really want to do a political cover band night. Who would be interested? And the first people who actually got back to me were Sam Frederick from Burn Fetish, and Joe Callan from The Florists, and then Natalie from Now You Sense Contentious.
Yeah.
And they, I talked with it about them, like, okay, and like Joe and Sam said they wanted to do the Dead Kennedys, and then Natalie wanted to do Fugazi, and I was like, so it was originally those three bands. I was like, cool, all right, like, we have something, but then it was the planning of like, when are we gonna meet up to talk about what we're gonna do, like, and then the plan became that each band is gonna donate to an organization of their choice, so it's gonna be completely a benefit night.
Nice. Who's Bikini Kill going to be
I have no
benefit?
idea yet.
Yeah.
That's
To
the
be
thing, we have
determined,
to like
yeah.
sit. I've been pushing that on all the bands, being like, you need to tell me who you're gonna donate to, but
Yeah.
nobody is. But yeah, it's gotten a huge response.
It has, yeah. Hundreds and hundreds of people will be squeezing into Reverie.
Yeah, I was like, okay, 800 people, cool, okay. I really wanted it to be all ages because I think that like kids seeing that is really important. 'Cause
Absolutely,
I feel like
yeah.
teenagers are sort of pushed off, or like especially younger kids are pushed off from learning about politics because that's an adult thing. Like,
Yeah, and to learn about it through these bands,
Yeah.
which, they might not
they may
necessarily
not
be
have
aware
heard
of.
I
Yeah.
didn't know about Bikini Kill until I was like 16.
Yeah.
So I would love to have a 16-year-old person be there and be like, oh, like, I didn't know this existed, and then like hear these songs and know that they exist.
Yeah.
Especially like each band is gonna like really try and like hone in on what the specific bands of the past did too. Like I'm gonna be like getting in people's faces and like because I'm fronting it and just like screaming. And
You're going to be
also, like,
pissed off about
patriarchy.
and not afraid to get in your face about it.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty much.
As
And
it
then
says.
like I've always loved the Dead Kennedys. The minute that Joe and Sam told me that they wanted to do Dead Kennedys, I was like, I tried to resist to be like, let me be the drummer because I don't want to do the double duty. But I'm really excited to see that. And then Fugazi is of course like really awesome. And then later.
And so Natalie is involved
Natalie's
in Fugazi.
Um,
and then J. Steve Berquist from like Nath is in that too. And then like recently I just added a Negative Approach cover band and then a Sex Pistols cover band. The cool thing about the Sex Pistols cover band is it's a group of students from where I work for School of Rock. And they're all teenage girls. And I'm like, you know what? Like, there you go. I'm really excited. And I was like...
Teenage female American Sex Pistols.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the total like opposite of what Sex Pistols were. But
and yet the same thing.
And exactly, exactly the same thing. I like even said in the description, like, who said we can be limited to hating the U.S. government? Like, we could...
Yeah, we definitely...
Yeah, like, that's...
I don't limit myself to that.
Yeah, so I'm really excited and also very nervous for this because it was even a thing where like I didn't know that it would get. I thought it was just gonna be a thing of like friends meeting up and like just having a small show in a basement. And, like, ditzing around being like, yeah, this is fun, whatever. But then it actually became like a really huge thing. And like I will go to house shows and hear people be like, oh, you hear about that political cover band show? And I'm just like, okay, that's my show. Like people are talking about it, and then like another person who I knew was like, oh, aren't you doing that? Like, I really want to go to that political cover band show. It was like in another local band that I admire, and I was like, okay, this is like, it's very overwhelming.
It must
but it's
be.
also very like humbling to know that people really do care and want to.
And reassuring.
Yeah, and like, I really tried to make sure, as I said, it was all ages and also like wheelchair accessible because I really want everyone to be able to come to this, and after this, I may make it a series. So, like, cause... Yeah,
please do. Don't put too much on your plate.
Yeah, I've tried to, I've had many people ask to be on it. And like, you're too late. Like, I don't want to, like, you're too late, sucks, buddy.
Well, nights only last a certain amount of hours.
Yeah, I'm like, I can't really fit, like, 10 bands on the Reverie stage. Like, you know?
Yeah, because Reverie also doesn't... it closes generally a little earlier than bar close.
Yeah. And like, as I said, I didn't want it, like, because if it was going to be bigger, I really, like, it was between memory lanes and there, but I was like, but then memory lanes, what happens is it's 21 plus, like strictly 21 plus. I'm like, I want everyone to be able to come to these shows.
Yeah.
And I even know people who are like road tripping from Mankato to
Wow,
come.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it turns out more people are into these old bands / angry about the situation / excited about seeing you in Bikini Kill and Natalie in Fugazi, etc.
Yeah, I'm
than you
so
thought.
excited to see the other bands. Like, I just remember meeting up with them for the first time, just being like, have you practiced yet? Like, and
It is very exciting.
Bikini Kill just had our first practice too.
So
our first.
funny
We've
to
been
hear.
talking about it since January. It's very interesting, but
And
yeah,
So you were saying Bikini Kill kind of made you who you are to some extent.
absolutely. Bikini Kill is probably, like, I call my 3 favorite bands the, like, Holy Trinity.
Who were the other two?
It's Bikini Kill, SleaterKinney, and Babes in Toyland. Like, those are the 3 who, like, really.
Hence Bruise Violet.
Yeah,
which is of course the
exactly.
Babes in Toyland.
And
song.
like SleaterKinney's the reason I know Stephanie. Like, we
Ah.
bonded over SleaterKinney.
Yeah.
And then Bikini Kill is just like the reason of how I became who I am.
Yeah.
Like,
I love SleaterKinney. We can bond about SleaterKinney.
I like
too.
start crying sometimes because I love SleaterKinney that much. Like, me and Stephanie will be in one time we literally just sat in the car together and were listening to SleaterKinney, and then we went, dude, SleaterKinney's a real band. Like, can you believe that they are?
Bruise Violet is a real
Yeah,
band.
I'm just like, I was just amazed, like, how do people have that much talent?
Can we expect you and Stephanie to be in SleaterKinney perhaps in the future then, if there's going to be a series of
I told her
of shows?
we should do it. Because one person actually said, actually, we should, like, I want to do a SleaterKinney cover band. And me and Stephanie were like, off limits.
Funny.
Yeah.
So you were saying there's lots of bands that would say like fuck Trump in their set.
I feel like it's a thing where people tend to get on their pedestals and be like, I do not like Donald Trump. That's all I got, right, guys? And then they're preaching to the choir, and I'm just there like. And I remember there was this one band I saw where this guy was like talking about how awful Trump was, and then he started making like jokes about like I fucked your mom jokes, and then like talking about how big his penis was, and I was like,
the incongruity.
yeah, I was
of
just
that.
sitting there like, I was with Stephanie, and I was just like, you're just like him by saying this stuff, you know? Like, why?
The lack of self-awareness.
Yeah,
there.
so it's like, I feel like they sort of parrot what they hear, and I really didn't like that, and I want to have these real discussions with people, because I'm like, also, like, you shouldn't just preach to the choir, because you know you're going to get the same response. Like, you should be able, I'm not saying you have to, but like, you definitely don't have to talk to people who aren't like supportive of your identity and who you are, but like, if a person like, or genuinely doesn't understand something, like, be like, hey, like, let's talk about this. Like, I'm very much about like, we should try and create a community and like really try and band together, especially in this time. Like, we are living in a very confusing, very angry, dystopian type of thing where it's like, I have a friend message me every day being like, did you read the news? And I'm just like, what happened now? Like, and it's just very like emotionally and like physically draining, but I just like, you gotta really try and rise above it.
Yeah, well, thank you for finding ways to do so as a musician and as a member of the scene that go beyond just repeating a slogan.
Yeah.
That go well beyond it. It's listening back to some of the old Bruise Violet songs. I'm almost kind of hearing them through a different lens now. You think you own it all. You think you rule the world. Well, I'll show you what it's like to get your ass kicked by a girl. I'm imagining that being addressed to a particular person now.
Yeah,
but
I feel like, well, like Kathleen Hanna always said in like Bikini Kill, like when she was in Bikini Kill, she was speaking to like the like patriarchal male of like the worst person you could think of speaking to. That's kind of like what I think of writing Bruise Violet songs. Yeah.
Well, after like the Jeff Sessions thing, people jokingly were like, "Sketchy Jeff is about Jeff Sessions."
Yeah, we were like, we predicted it 3 years before it actually happened.
But then, so as we near the end of our interview now, you were discussing what the other band's doing, and outside of the content of the songs, you're evidently already doing a lot. Do you find yourself kind of, whether it's through Bruised Violet or through any of the other bands, do you find yourself wanting to be more political, like within the music, within the lyrics and stuff as well, or is that it's not necessary? Like as you were saying, it's not necessary. But do you personally find yourselves feeling the need to do that?
I think, as Emily says about her songs, it just kind of comes when it comes. I'm not gonna purposely be like, U.S. government sucks and it needs to get rewritten. Yeah, woo, fuck America, chant it with me. Like, no, I just, that's not really my style, but like, more of, I'm very, as I said, I'm very willing to like talk about things, and like, I really, I tried to, me and Joe Callan are really trying to start like,
Joe from the Florist.
Yeah, from Florist. We're really trying to start like, community meetings again about like, how to address certain issues
Wonderful.
in the scene, and I really just want to be. I feel like an ally is just like such an overused word.
Yeah.
But like, you know, if you need help, like let me know. You know, like my songs are there to help too. If you find any comfort through listening to my music, that's dope. Like and like.
What goes around comes around. Kitten Forever. Are there for you.
Yeah, exactly. Like as I said, seeing Kitten Forever every time is like I've seen them like a million times, but every time it's just like I feel like my battery's recharged.
Absolutely,
like,
yeah.
And I especially love when teenage girls or like young girls come up to us and are like, I love your band. You're the reason that I started a band, or like you're the reason that like I got into this band. Like, oh, I just and like people
are like when teenage girls like show us the things that they made. Like I made this patch for myself because. I don't like. Yeah. I just made this patch. I don't know.
Doing something creative in response to your creation.
But I'd say I have been writing some political songs, but it just feels like I know I'm all for like political songs and like sing them, but I always feel like not like nervous getting them out, but like I don't know. Like
it is like a very specific thing.
It's
like
a very specific time and very
time.
I don't know.
It's true, like, I mean, even...
And you're really putting yourself out there.
Yeah, exactly.
And there will be negative responses.
Yeah,
even like, there was just a post that, you know, Bruised Violet put out a post, I think, when the Nightmare song came out.
And we were like...
Because
it was right after the, like, grab her by the pussy thing came out. And we were like, yo, consent's fucking important. And then
absolutely.
Like, we don't like the way that you interpret your songs! And I'm like, okay, hold on. This is our songs. Like,
right.
We have our own interpretations, you know? And I mean, even with, like, the Dead Kennedys, they have like a video where like they're playing Nazi punks, fuck off, and like Jello has a speech before being like, we've gotten a lot of flack for this song, like people don't agree with us, but it's also like, just the fact that, I don't know, that stuff's excused, and like even things that seem so obvious, being like, Nazis are not good people are like, well, and try to excuse it, and I'm just like, like, what the hell, you know?
Or as if that's not what you should be thinking about as a musician. Like, get back to just saying the slogan between the songs, please. Like that. Yeah. Which is a shame. So thank you for thinking outside of that, and like pushing yourselves to, you know, explore new emotional territory, new political territory, like in the various different projects. Thank you for being the maturity motor that we were, you know, referred to earlier. It was like got plugged into Bruised Violet and led to this like evolution that keeps on happening. Now I'm excited for the show on Friday. But in the meantime, hopefully I'll be able to catch Girl Time for the first time, and then on May 19th, that's when we can take the power back with political covers for political causes at Reverie.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for tuning in. I've been Simon Calder. This is Back to the City. Thank you very much, Bruised Violet. See you on Friday.